Good evening and welcome back to the Upset Podcast. This evening we're talking about or asking the question, are our youth ready to lead? Coming up next. Hello, once again. Happy Sunday, and thank you for tuning in to the Upset Podcast. And we're happy that you tuned in on this Sunday evening. And I'm happy that these people joined me as well. Hey,
Hello,
guys.
hello.
Make it sound like you found us on the street.
Yeah.
These people.
Come
These
on.
bumps.
Come along, my friends. Come along. Yeah. So, how's it going? How was everyone's week?
Well, it was a very busy week, but
Was it?
yeah, but I rejoice in it. And before I go any further, I want to give best wishes to a couple that I just
Oh, yeah.
performed the nuptials for, Stanley and Jodalee Collins.
Oh, congrats to the Collins.
Awesome.
Happy. You know, when Tally performs your wedding, there is a what's the 99% chance? Is that do you
That-
have the
that-
stats
no.
on when you perform weddings, the likelihood that
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I didn't perform mine.
Yeah, Tally married my wife and I almost 7 years ago. In December makes 7 years, and we're still holding on. So
okay,
yeah.
see? All
Wow.
right. See?
Oh, I use crazy glue on those two.
I didn't even know that. I forgot that. I should say.
Yeah.
That's great. That's cool.
The wedding I did today, Stanley Collins, 41 years ago, I performed his mother and his father's wedding.
Wow.
And
Really? See?
yeah, it's
And you know how when you have a good, realtor or a good, you refer them because you had a good experience. So,
I guess that's what he thought. But Stan and Mikey, as we all call her Mikey. I mean, they're childhood friends of mine, and we're all
nice.
from North Church. And I was honored to do theirs, and doubly honored to do their sons.
Oh, awesome. Oh, happy to hear that. I love weddings. So I don't even know them, I don't think, but I'm happy for them today.
I mean, but the music tells you what to expect.
Don't.
Dum 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 dum. But no, I'm only kidding, everybody. Weddings, marriage is the greatest institution.
So I want to mention a shout out to all the parents who are gearing up for back to school, whether your child's already in school or you're gearing up for it. I had to go through the shopping list for my daughter, and I have a whole new respect for parents. And I'm thinking about all those weeks back, all summer long. There were these backpack giveaways and school supply giveaways. I'm just like, stupid GP. You should grab supplies while you could. I'm kicking myself in the head. It's not going to happen again. But shout out to all the parents.
Next year, yeah, it adds up for sure.
Oh my goodness!
I saw some people talking about just the cost of uniforms. So if you're a child, I mean, you're talking about if you have multiple children, you're easily going to spend almost $1,000 just to get.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
uniforms and of course you're going to need multiples of some things. You can't wear the same jumper or same pants every day. So back to school is an expensive time for parents. So shout out to all of us.
Yes, and shout out to all the community agencies giving back to the community.
Because they recognize that. Yeah, speaking of shout outs, I want to shout out our Upset family. It was great, just coming back from Beta United Youth Congress in Orlando, Florida, being able to run into a few of our viewers down there. And my friend from Church of the Oranges, she even had our Upset podcast shirt on. And when I saw her, she's like, I didn't even realize it at first because we all had our Fearless, which was the theme for United Youth Congress shirts on. So, and it was black as well. But she had her Upset podcast shirt on.
I
So
saw that. Yeah.
I was very excited to see us being represented in Orlando. And I'm sure somebody asked her, "What's the Upset podcast?" So
Hmm.
I was like, maybe I should start doing that. That's why I wore my
Yeah.
hat tonight, so I
Shout out
can.
to Donna.
Oh yes, Donna. Yes,
Donna.
yes, yes,
Huh.
yeah. That's her
Okay.
name, Donna. Yeah. But no, yeah. So speaking of United Youth Congress, I got so tickled because last week when we were on here, I was saying, "Oh, if you see us, the cameras and the," it's because I had no idea what
Huh.
the schedule would be like. So our media team, AEC's media team, pretty much ran the cameras. They were the camera operators for all the programming in the main session area. So literally there was hardly any time where they weren't occupied to be able to come and interview different individuals. But we were able to capture some of them in action and take some photos. But we will be getting some feedback from our attendees. But AC, let me tell you, we know how to represent when we go places. I'm just so proud of our conference. It's like when we hear AEC, we know how to respond.
Hmm.
And of course, our youth director, Dr. Griffith, Ramon Griffith, led out in the programming along with Pastor Horton from Southwest Region Conference. So they were kind of our MCs for the program. And so whenever it was time to do that roll call for AEC, you could hear it throughout the building that we were there. So that was great to see so much representation.
Allegheny East represents well. You
We
know,
do. We do. We do.
I mean,
Yeah.
they represent well.
Yeah. And I know, Tiffany, you asked that question, why would they schedule beta um, during back to school time? And I think I'd heard that it was some type of contractual thing, that was the only dates available. And so instead of not having it, they went with what they could do. And I mean, I have to say, I heard yesterday that I think it was like over 3,500 who were there,
Wow.
as regular as delegates. And then, of course, on Sabbath, that number expands because of local individuals coming. But it was nice to see. I mean, like my girls took them out of Palm Forest. Some other Palm Forest students were there, and they were a little sad about missing school, but overall, I think they had a
Oh,
good time.
Pine Forge has actually started classes.
Oh yeah, they started last Monday, so literally they had 2 days of school, and then they were.
Hmm.
It wasn't enough time for them to say yes, please take me away. So but yeah, hello to the people. Let's say hello. Hi, Mary. Thanks for being here. Mary Wright. Hello, Miss Rosalie Van Putten. Thanks for being here. And hello, yes, Miss Retha Dixon. Hi. Yes. Thank you for saying that. So, because I knew I couldn't quite get the interviews, I committed to kind of doing a little bit of a day in review for those who are like, what is this? What happens there? Check out our reels. We try to kind of do a recap of the day. Just 1 minute, so it won't take too much of your time. But yes, the highlight by far was the baptism yesterday afternoon, which I think initially throughout every time there was a service, they made an appeal. And young people would sign up, they would sign up. So on Sabbath, we knew that we were going to have this culmination of baptisms and things of that nature. So I think they had maybe about like 120 or something that they were supposed to baptize. During their program yesterday, of course, after the last one, you always make that second appeal. Anyone else? And then one by one by one by one by one by one. I mean, I was kind of making a joke, but it wasn't a joke. I was like, this is the baptism that doesn't end. It goes on, my friend, because it literally lasted almost.
How many young
So
people
it
were
ended
there?
with 168.
Wow.
But it was a
That's
very, it's not something that you can't get tired of seeing people come to Jesus, especially young people, right? You don't get tired of it. It was just amazing to see that just when every time they tried to like close out, there was someone else approaching the pool, someone else approaching the pool, and it just continued to just get higher and higher and higher. Exactly, it was like a pool party, yeah. So it was great. It was great to see the amount of young people there, and it was just touching too to see the youth directors see young people that they've invested in. You could see their responses to them making these decisions as well, which made it extra special.
Who spoke on Sabbath for the service?
Dr. Myron Edmonds.
Oh, okay, okay.
Son of AEC, as we say.
Yeah.
Your church's young adult Bible Bowl team won. Oh, okay. Lebanon. Yes, yes. This is from Northeastern, right? Because Northeastern was killing it with Bible Bowl. They were, at least in the semifinals, they had a spot in each section of the Bible Bowl. So congratulations to Lebanon for winning the young adult. That was amazing. And congrats to our teams too. We were in there doing our thing.
Quick question. I mean, the Bible Bowl used to be kind of slavishly connected to the King James Version, where, you know, if you miss a comma or something like that. Is it still that way where it's?
I don't know if it's quite that rigid.
Oh, okay.
I don't think so. I mean, I didn't hear all of, but usually from what I understand, from what I've experienced lately, it's more, you know, they study your scripture and then they ask them different things within it. But I don't know. I haven't seen anything get so granular where if they miss a comma or something,
okay,
you know, they're out. Yeah. Yeah. Listen, Novella's coming back from United Youth Congress. She's supposed to be joining us as well. Marlena's going to be joining us as well. You know, it's one of those Sundays where everybody's got something going on. Everybody's coming back from something. I flew back in this afternoon. Tally's coming from a wedding. You know how these Sundays. But we wanted to be live, so here we are. Yeah. So yeah, it was a great day.
So it is KJV based. That's unfortunate.
Oh, that is KJV based.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I mean,
you don't.
Well, KJV is everyone acknowledges that it's one of the most poetic versions, but it is not one of the most faithful versions to the original text. But not only that, but just getting young people to remember rote words is not necessarily the best way to go about it. I mean, it's better than nothing, don't get me wrong, but it's unfortunate that they're keeping it connected to the KJV.
And that may change, you know, maybe it will be evaluated.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not sure. Tomorrow, yeah. Oh, yes. So you were among that number. Yes. I saw you when you came. I was like, wait, I know. As a matter of fact, I was sitting beside Pastor Tyler Keenan. He was there as well. And I was like, wait, I know her because I met you at the town hall at Shiloh. And so it was great to see so many of our AEC members being baptized. Yes, Dr. Edmonds' message on Sabbath was amazing. And it was really, really good. So I'm glad that just in. This just in.
Tosh, I didn't know how much you needed me. Oh my goodness.
I told
guys.
you.
Hello, my family.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Sorry, guys. Doing church work.
Yes, we were on the go for sure. Yes, I don't. Yes, it was definitely a great experience.
So Beta was really good.
It was really great. I mean, I'm saying that as a full-grown adult, can no longer even call myself a young adult, which is just sad on so many levels. But okay, Tally.
You're about Myron's age, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'm glad that so many of you who are on tonight were there because I kind of, want to make sure everybody has an understanding of what everyone's experience were, some of the highlights. So I was
Bro, go ahead.
Yes, he has a nice ring to it, doesn't it?
It does. Look, it is quite an achievement, I tell you.
It is. we're so
I was
proud.
thinking today, I said, Lord, I'm so glad I don't have no homework to do when I get off this show. I'm just
It's like time you have time that you still don't have, but at least you don't have to use it for that anymore.
yes, true.
So
Life
that
is
is
busy.
good.
Minus 48. Okay. So
So
Sister Tiffany put him right on the Broad Street.
she's like, I can give you his birth date if you need it. But no, and for people who always wonder like what happens at these United Youth Congress, and it's so funny because just like we call the conference beta, even though beta is the name of the organization that is putting on United Youth Congress. And some people, as you know, even some of us have asked, what is beta? So I always like to say it as much as possible. Black Adventist Youth Directors Association. So these are all of the regional conference youth directors, the Office of Regional Conference Ministries, and even some of our Black ministries that are part of state conferences participate, and they plan this. And the president of Beta is Dr. Paula Olivier,
Yeah,
and she used to be part of AC. She was a pastor in
yeah.
AC for a while before she transitioned to Northeastern, and just doing a phenomenal job. It's so funny. Female shortest member of the team, but she is rising and doing great things. So we're really, really proud of her. And as someone who was her classmate at Oakwood, it's something how certain things just make sense when you see people, you remember them on campus and saw their abilities then, and then so many years later to see them still doing everything that you imagine. I'm sure you see that a lot, Tally, with some of your
You
classmates
do.
from Oakwood.
Yeah.
Did you
So
go,
yeah.
GP?
I was not there, but I heard it was amazing.
Okay. This
Yeah.
is the first one I've missed in decades. I'm so sad. I'm sure it was awesome.
Yeah, yeah, this is your thing, Marlena. You is there.
Oh, I knew my peeps were going to be there. We had so much going on this year. But
Yeah.
next time, Lord willing.
Yeah, I was just thinking that like we had GC, betas, like so many things.
Yeah, I
People
go
show up.
to the BACTA conference, the Black Adventist Convalescing.
That's where you were,
Yeah, you know.
reclining in
Convalescent.
your comfy lazy boy.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you know. I mean, you know it's our conference when you see the lime jello at dinner and you know, wheat germ for breakfast and Metamucil as a dessert.
And a pill of vitamins for your snacks.
Yes, indeed.
The question was as if it was streamed. I know that they streamed some preliminary like openings. I saw it on the beta live, but I don't know about the service. I actually will have to find that out. But I'm pretty sure it's been archived and will probably released. So Tiffany is sharing something that kind of, this is kind of a discussion talking about beta, but also talking about youth and leadership, which is what it's inspired by. And she said she would personally like to see them choose speakers that are under 40.
Yeah, that would be
not saying that the speakers are not good, but I would just like to see younger pastors get a shot. And I think that is an interesting
very valid
perspective to as well, because it's funny, like we're old now, like oh, hi, Libby. We were just talking about you. Hi, Libby.
What a throwback. I mean,
Libby's a teenager now. Oh my goodness.
I know. I wish we could do like a little side view of when she used to pop up there. And
Libby drove to get the
yeah, that's good. Yeah, they're archived, not streamed, so they are. So
I was kind of funny.
Oh,
You definitely have glasses.
oh, who has glasses?
I
You
have
said
glasses. I have glasses. Yes.
Why?
I don't have. That's because she couldn't bring her dog and her cane.
Blind close up. That's why.
Yeah, you know.
You don't have glasses.
No.
He needs them though. He's just tending.
I do mine by braille. I just reach and feel it. You know.
Yeah, I've never seen you with glasses. I wear them. See, Libby came for our special "Are Youth Ready to Lead?" because she's trying to share with us that indeed they are ready to lead. But
generation of today, not tomorrow.
I want to be a podcaster.
You want to be a podcaster?
Yeah.
Well, here we go. You're in the right spot, and you have the best mentors sitting right there under you there.
He's been podcasting since what, GP2 or something like that? He's been with them?
One.
One?
One.
Yeah.
She was born, remember? She was she wasn't even born yet when we started this thing. So we literally watched
Just
her
a
grow
little
up.
bun in the oven.
Yeah. But yeah, back to that comment, because I kind of wanted to talk about that a little bit when it comes to youth ministry. I mean, we're not as young as we used to be. Even though a lot of us are still very passionate about young people. How
Mhm.
do we feel about making room for young people to speak? Now, on Friday night, Deshaun Pottinger, this is before the Jonathan McReynolds concert. There's so many things to talk about this, but
I bet that concert was great.
on Friday night, Deshaun Pottinger, who used to be part of AC before their family moved to Florida, spoke for about 7 to 10 minutes, or maybe it was like 10 minutes. 17-year-old, and while she was speaking, even though I know her, and of course I was just like a proud auntie, I was thinking about the fact that wow, it would have been great if they had more youth speakers speaking to their peers, because I felt like the impact may have been a little greater. And I definitely think that that's something to consider, not just for beta, but anytime we have youth events or things, to let the youth be speakers, because
Yeah.
we have some powerhouses
Mm-hmm.
of young speakers who are waiting for those opportunities to help them grow and expand their gifts. That's not to take anything away from some of the, great speakers, great messages that we heard, or even some of the youth leaders who spoke. But there's a lot of power in young people speaking to young people, I think. So
Mhm.
yeah, I kind of agree with you on that one.
And one question that you had, Tosh, was, are they ready? Of course they're ready. We just have to give them opportunity. You
Okay.
know, we hesitate, because we think they don't have experience, but they have experiences that are different than what we know. And I think we need to let them loose.
And that's what scares people, that even that just saying let them loose, because people are wondering, what does loose look like? So what is the litmus test? What's the criteria we use to determine whether young people are ready to lead? And when we say lead, there's so many layers to this. What do we mean? Are we saying to lead a service? Are we saying to be in a leadership role?
Can
Are
we
we
qualify what young means before we go?
okay?
Yeah. How old is young?
Well, we know young adults are considered 18 to 35, and
Okay.
then youth is pretty much, well, there's
Zygote.
children, and then
Okay.
there's youth.
Zygote to puberty. Okay.
Right.
Mhm.
So,
So when we talk about young people leading, we're talking about young people approaching the age of 20, in that 20-30 range. Is that what we're talking about?
I actually
At
think
some
about it in different increments. Yeah,
Mhm.
because even some
That's true.
teenagers, I feel, are ready for certain leadership roles. No, they're not going to be the president of conferences. I mean, come on, let's.
Okay. Okay.
That's not, that's, but they may be able to take on a position. I mean, I remember when I was maybe 16, I was the youth director at my church. Like, I was AY leader, I should say. Even
Wow.
I feel like I'm too young for this. This is what I said. Why would they choose me? I'm only 16. I need this program myself. But what I found in being given that responsibility is it stretched me in my leadership abilities and my skill sets, and helped me connect with my peers more. So when we do give young people the opportunity to lead, we're giving them a leg up as they enter college and the world, to say, God can equip me with these things. And until I get the opportunity to do it, I won't know what God can do through me in these various
Mhm.
Yeah,
things.
I truly believe that when we engage our young people in opportunities to lead, it's literally leadership development, and they're growing and they're developing,
Mhm.
and others are inspired by their peers more than they're inspired by us. I realize, okay, I just turned 38. I'm no longer young. Okay, I've
Welcome.
embraced it,
Welcome, Jesus. Oh,
and so I may look
You're an
young,
old
but I'm
man
not.
with a mortgage and a child, man.
And so when we have a youth day, I'm not trying to preach. I'm looking for the the 12-year-old, the 13-year-old to bring into the pulpit, to mentor, to prepare so that they can
Mhm.
share, and I'm not just hogging all the spotlight.
Giving them 5 minutes, but then you preach right after them.
Mhm.
To say just make sure they get a good word. Let me go ahead and cover this, because I do think sometimes in churches we throw our youth a bone in that you can do the scripture, you can lead the song service, you can do this, but you can't do that. Like we create certain boundaries or limitations. So how do we really get to the point where we fully engage youth in the whole process of church life, church leadership?
I,
How does
I
that?
think, Tosh, that it really starts a lot with us as pastors trusting that our young people can do it. You say, ask what criteria. One, I want to make sure, that they're godly, right? That they're not going to be perfect, but at least godly, a desire, to live for God. And that I see their gifts, and skills. That's how you grow their gifts. Like I have, young adult elders, right? That I make them youth pastors, and I have them do, my young people baptisms, and they preach. They help me with baptisms, I would say. And certainly have them preach. But what if I never gave them an opportunity? I have an elder. They used to call him a youth elder. I said, no, you're not a youth elder. He's an elder, and he's 16. He's a good preacher.
Now, when you say he's an elder, was he with all of the accoutrements and prerogatives of an ordained elder?
Yes, I made him a full elder.
Ordained?
I haven't ordained him yet, but it's coming.
And how old is he again?
16.
Okay.
Mhm.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
16.
It's
He is very godly. He preaches. He's on the preaching schedule. He's on the serving schedule at 16.
okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And another part of the criteria, Tiffany mentions maturity. So I know you mentioned you see some spirituality, some giftedness. There's also maturity, because we know that that's not always based on a number, an age number.
Mm.
Sometimes there's some very mature 14-year-olds or 15-year-olds and some very immature 25-year-olds, let's be honest. So
Mhm.
that's good.
I was a youth elder. I didn't join the church until I was 16, and they made me a youth elder, I think, around 17. North had a very active youth church, and I mean, we weren't ordained, but we had a replica of the church. We had a youth church with youth elders, youth deacons, and
Oh,
and so forth. And I'm sensitive to it. I mean, because look, I was 17 when I got to Oakwood. I was 23 when I left seminary. I finished seminary at 23, and my first church, I was 23 years old, and
wow.
so I know what it means to be young in leadership. And
So Tally, you said you were 16 when you joined the church,
yes,
and shortly after that, you became.
A youth
yeah,
elder, one of you
yeah. They
things.
fast tracked me right into it.
So what do
God
you think
in you.
I mean, I think we can assume, but what do you think they saw in you that quickly to put you in that role?
I was, as Paul Smith, I was zealous for the gospel. I mean, I was hungry. I thought I really I thought that everybody was saved and on their way to heaven, and I was the last one. And so I was doing everything I could. I read everything I could get my hands on. Uh, when I got to Oakwood, I had only been an Adventist for a little under 2 years, and
Wow.
I thought everybody at Oakwood was saved twice, and
You're
and
behind playing catch up,
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, I always felt like I was playing catch up, and
Did you lose the faith when you got there after you saw? Did you?
no, truthfully, at Oakwood, I heard 4 years, and I was very active at Oakwood. I heard 2 people curse in 4 years,
Okay, that's not bad.
and yeah, I mean, that's it. 2 people cursed,
Yeah. See,
and I never saw anybody smoke. I never saw anybody drink, and I never knew. I'd heard about parties, but I never knew where they were. I mean,
that's
Wow.
good, Tally. Ask
Children
them
just
today. What's the statistics today?
Well, it's according to what you're looking for, and what kind of company you surround yourself with. I mean, the guys that I used to spend time with at Oakwood, we were all young men. I mean, Leslie Pollard was one of my great friends at Oakwood. Alan Martin, David Long. All of the guys I went to school with are now in church leadership, except me.
Mhm.
Yes, you were. Yeah,
Were.
I was
But
never in church leadership. Now, I mean, I was USM religious vice president. Then the year after that, I was USM president, and so I was in leadership at Oakwood. And that taught me I never want to do that again. but but as a young
pastor
person,
is church leadership,
say,
yeah, that's
well,
right.
yeah, but I mean, I'm talking about administrative titular leadership.
organizational.
Yeah, yeah, organizational leadership.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was looking at some comments about about like youth days. Churches having more of the youth days where the youth do everything.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
because, like I said, you have some of those where they pick and choose. They sprinkle the youth in there just to call it a youth day, and it's. I've been to one of those. It's like, oh, it's youth day, and of course, it's like, oh, and then when the message came, it had nothing to do with young people. It
Oh my
wasn't addressing them at all, or incorporating
Who
any.
gave it? Who gave the message?
It was the pastor. It
Oh,
was just like I don't know if it was necessarily a series or whatever, but it didn't have any intentionality to be purposed towards youth. It was
yeah.
like, let's slap youth day on the Sabbath. Let the young
Mhm.
people do the preliminaries, but it will be business as usual. And
Mm.
so, that's one of those things. Kind
My last church, West Church, which is still the dearest church in my heart, period. Uh, we would when we would have youth day, young people did everything.
Mhm.
yes,
And I mean, we had kids. We would do the tripart sermon, where we'd have 3 kids each doing 10 minutes or so.
yeah, I like that.
I mean, and they were as young as 9 or 10 or 11, and they did extraordinarily well. I mean,
Mhm. Mhm.
I've always believed, let them have a chance to make a mistake.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah, it's
They're
all
Now,
right.
at my previous church, I had them do their week of prayer. Every night
Yeah,
was a
yeah,
kid
yeah.
preaching.
Yeah,
The
Yep.
whole and they were
Same
so
here.
excited. Their parents would come in. It was a high
Mhm.
sermon would be 10 minutes, but it was, their week of prayer. And
right.
we did, I mean, I think it became a regular. We did it every year.
Yeah.
And that was called the Children's Week of Prayer,
Yeah.
Okay.
and
We'll
youth, we
always
would do the same thing, but or sometimes have even a big, young adult preacher to come in and end it. But all those who were willing. I think sometimes now you have to really encourage them because not everyone is willing. You
Yeah.
Yeah.
help them
Yeah.
see their gifts.
Yeah. Can I raise something? Because I can understand, oh, I'm not sure if they're ready yet, but I've come to discover that, 30, 40-year-olds who are getting involved in leadership, they
Mhm.
still deal with the same tension and gatekeeping and foolishness. And so can you help me explain that? How do grown adults with mortgages and children deal with the same foolishness from elders or older people who've been around who don't want them to get involved?
If Josiah was 8 and
Mhm.
he was the king, now I know he had some little advisors around him.
Yeah.
I can understand
He
that.
was a regent king.
I got that, but he was making some decisions.
Yeah.
He was. He had advisors, but he was making some decisions. He had to
But
tally by 13. He was no. He was making some decisions.
well, and I'm seeing some comments on the side too, and we'll kind of tie this into your question, GP, about assuming that youth being young means you're unqualified. But in the Bible, we saw that most of the people that we know were actually younger than we,
Yeah,
want
younger
them
than we
to
think.
be.
Yeah.
Um, and even as Lance mentioned too, how old were the disciples? I think Vandion, even at Youth Congress, Griffin spoke about the fact that we think these disciples are like old men. Most of them are young,
I mean,
young
they were all in their 20s.
20s, 20
Maybe,
year olds. So it's like,
maybe early 30s, but
and if Jesus chose them to go with him, what are we doing? We're supposed to be modeling, what Jesus did. So I think when we look at these people in the Bible, we assume, oh, they were older, wiser.
Yeah.
They not all of them were.
I mean,
Also, guys, is it a lack of trust or lack of a desire to release power? Do we just want to
It's
stay in
control. I
power?
think it's control.
that's
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
power thing.
because young people are ready. They're really
Yeah.
ready. We just have to give them the opportunity.
Yeah, I do think it's a little bit of control. I mean, there has to be something, when you study the different generational things that apply to different age groups, there has to be something in there that speaks to why there's this need to hold on, like fear. I mean, usually fear is a lot of fear of what will happen if I'm not in charge. Will this remain, pure? Will this remain what I known it to be if I let them take over? I'm nervous about what I see, and can I trust them with this kind of thing? Um, it's holding on to the way it was. Denzel said, "The church I know wouldn't do it this way." Yeah, that mindset, since it's like they feel like they're protecting it. They don't even see it as a bad thing. They see it as I'm protecting something that I feel may be getting out of control. Even the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Someone else mentioned that as well. Started with young adults. And this is
Where
something
they
else
got to go.
This is something else I saw at Youth Congress that was a pet peeve for me. It had nothing to do with the program or anything. It had to do. I went to some of the seminars. I was, getting some footage, but also I kind of like to see what people are talking about. And here we are at United Youth Congress. Of course, chaperones come, right? Chaperones, parents, they're there. I was there. But when I go into a seminar, in my mind, as an adult, I'm there to just be quiet and listen, see what I can gauge, not fully participate and take over the seminars. So I was getting a little frustrated that, like, when people were presenting, that when the presenter would ask a question, the adults were responding, not giving the youth a chance to interact. I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, this is for them. And sometimes when we do that, like we're in those spaces with the young people where it's for them and we take over, it makes me I felt like if I was a young person, I would just like not say much because you're taking over my space. You're taking over something that was intended for me. And you're reminding us that there are adults in here, and you know what I mean? And so I was like, I wonder if there's a way how we can, I don't know, have seminars for chaperones or something, or maybe
Yeah.
something to do so they let the young people be the young people. We should not be in their seminars dominating the conversation. I don't know. That was just a little pet peeve.
Well, I
Agree with
mean,
you.
you would think that we would have enough sense to know that.
Yeah, it happened more than I was like, what is going on here? But I mean, at the same time, it showed me that maybe we need more seminars for adults, because there's this passion for youth ministry that some adults have, but it's not always your place to be in the space with the young people speaking up when it's their chance to speak up and ask their questions. But anyway, that was
In
just
a
something that
place
I
where
saw.
they feel safe, to speak, a safe space. Because who really wants to say certain things around their chaperones, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So you get to my mom, no, I'm not going to say anything.
Right. Yeah.
But
Um,
but let's also be mindful of the fact that when we talk about the apostles and we talk about David, that these were uh, extenuating circumstances where there were no adults to lead. I mean, and if you look throughout the New Testament, the counsel is always given to that deference be shown when it comes to leadership to the quote the elders, and the word elders there is not it's title and descriptive. It's the presbytos, the people of a certain age, and so the New Testament seems to kind of prefer to see leadership in the hands of experienced people, while at the same time saying, don't let anybody despise the youth, but it seems to prefer it.
hmm Yeah. I'm just looking at some of the comments as we're sharing. Eh, you know, it's
So, Tally, would you would you say that Jesus made the difference? I mean, I know that, the scribes and Pharisees, it was traditional for it to be skilled men of knowledge and things like that. And then Jesus chose regular people. Would you say that he chose those who were willing versus, I mean, he was dealing with strong Jews at the time?
Yeah, those who were willing, and those, and it was the custom for a rabbi to select followers, and the followers would always be younger. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Rabbis didn't go to the nursing home and say, you over there gumming your oatmeal, follow me. I mean, and so Jesus, being only 30 years of age at the time,
Mm-hmm.
it would be unseemly for him. I mean, when he almost made a disciple out of Nicodemus, who was much older, I mean, you could see that he was not going to have a lot of headway getting older people to follow him.
Yeah.
But there were others who,
But even saying that, Tally, Jesus was 30, still a young adult by
that's
our
right.
standards, but
Yeah.
he was still reaching down to even younger, or to say, I want to show you, because then you can show that. It just shows this pattern of reaching even when you're young.
Right.
You don't have to wait till you're old to bring somebody along. As you're young, you can bring the younger under you, so it continues to flow.
Well, I saw Lance make mention of the fact that David was surrounded by seniors when he was young. I mean, back when he was, killing Goliath, he was just a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
And but that's because the older folks would not respond. Saul, Saul, they said, Saul, you can go out and fight him. Saul said, I don't want none of that smoke, And David was young, and he was stirred up by a supernatural faith, as it were. But when David got older, Lance, as he was leading the 20 years before he became king, all of his cohorts were his age. They were, they weren't old men. They were his age, and they came along with him. Joab was his cousin.
Right. So, looking at some of the chatter in the chat, so Esther was sharing that the youth will lead us to heaven, but the seniors must show them the way. And then, and then Lance made the comment, that's assuming that seniors know the way. But that made me think of something from Myron's sermon, to say that sometimes as older people, we adults who have not healed from various traumas or things that happen to us can actually be a detriment to the younger generation, because those things that we have in us that may not be right, we can church hurt, we can be the perpetrators of church hurt ourselves because of things we have done. So in some cases, just because you're older doesn't always mean you're helping. Now, of course, there are older, of course we need guidance, of course we need mentorship, but just because you're older does not always equate that you know the way. So and even in knowing the way, you have to be open to what the Holy Spirit may be revealing even to you through a younger person. I mean, even as a parent, there have been things that my children have said to me that I didn't even have that perspective. I'm way older than them, but they showed me something that even I hadn't considered. And I think we have to be open to what the youth can show us, and not always assume that it has to be the other way around, that we have to always show them, but also be open to what they can show us as well.
Yeah.
All right. I saw some other comments here. Oh, okay. So we're talking about, are our youth ready to lead? We talked about a little bit about the criteria we're looking for. Are they mature? Are they spiritual? Do they have something to share? Do they have a certain skill set? Some people feel that some youth are ready to lead and some are not. So if someone is not ready to lead, well, should all youth lead?
No. Just like all adults, seniors shouldn't lead.
That's right. That's right.
Well, should all young people be given the opportunity to lead? Do you know what I mean when I ask that? Because
we also say, Tasha, we look at their skills and their gifts. So you kind of want them leading in the gifts that they have. Like for me, I really try to push my youth and young adults to lead, because I do have some young people on the board, but not all of them want to be leaders. Like, I'll help, right? But I don't want to do it, right? So I find now that many of them, they don't mind helping, but they really don't want to lead right now. I
Yeah.
don't know if they've just been opposed so much that they just lost their desire, or they just don't have a desire at all. And so I find myself having to encourage them so that they will, take over
Hmm.
and lead more.
Hmm. Or give them something that is more comfortable. So you may not lead out here, but can you hand these hymnals out? Because there's different
Oh yeah.
forms of leadership. It's not always the person up front, and I think that's another thing as a church we could do to develop young leaders. Find different ways to give them opportunities to lead. That doesn't always mean that they're upfront speaking, because that's what we think. Oh, if they're not outspoken or vibrant, then they don't have leader stamped on them. But there's some very quiet, influential young people that we could overlook if we're not careful, but they
Yeah.
have this influence amongst their peers that if we help them develop it and tap into it, they'll be able to do great things even through the pews, and you may never see them up front. So
I,
that's
I am, I want to be clear. I am absolutely for youth leadership. I was 17 when I was doing prison ministry. I remember speaking at a prison, and it wasn't until after I'd spoken at the prison that they said, "You're not supposed to be here. You have to be 18 to be in this prison." But I was 17, and I was big and ugly enough that they thought I was 18. But if for example, with the apostles being chosen, with David having to fight Goliath, if you have a situation where young people are the leaders, then that means there's been a failure in that community,
mm,
because elders should lead. Young people should be given responsibility and opportunity to grow in leadership,
okay.
but elders should lead. I mean, and that's not to preclude young people. I mean, Timothy was the leader of his church, and he was younger than some of the elders who were with him. So every once in a while, you'll find them. Like Lance made mention of the fact that Jesus was 12 when when he was teaching the. Now, look, if you can find me another 12-year-old whose mother was a virgin, then I say make him
Oh, is
conference
that the
president.
criteria?
Make you know, make him conference president. But it's a rare thing when you have.
I also want to say that elders should lead to a certain point. At some
Yeah.
place, they have to let go. It shouldn't be 80 still leading, and you
I
have
fully agree.
someone in their 20s ready.
Oh,
You got to let it go.
look. You're
Yeah.
talking to the cat that retired. I mean, I am willing to let it go, give it up, turn it loose. I mean, but I'm saying you want to make sure that elders are leading and helping these young people to become prepared. Uh,
Yeah. And what this, I know we've talked about this before, but I'm still trying to find out what that really looks like, because it never seems, I mean, we have retirement age, the government tells us the preferred time, even have tiers, early retirement. But when it comes to church leadership, we don't have those kinds of markers per se to say, okay, now might be time for you to think about transitioning out. I mean, it's what, like, you can be a deacon till you die. I mean, I'm not saying that's a
yeah,
bad thing, but I mean that's one of those things where once you're in it for life. Kind of
Yeah, I think it's a discipleship issue. If
okay,
healthy leaders were discipling others and mentoring others to replace them, we would not have that problem.
that's true.
yeah. So how can we get people more in a mentorship mindset than a let me hold on for dear life mindset when it comes to, I mean, but because I think there is some bit of relevancy that people feel when they have certain roles, or respect that they get from the congregation and members when they have a role. Like, what can we do to help people understand that your value is not tied to your title in the church, but more so to what you can do
Ooh,
to
self-worth.
continue.
Okay,
And
that's good.
Tosh, with that, help people to understand that you are still doing the Lord's work, even though you're not the leader of it, right? You don't have to be the leader. You know, you can still do the Lord's work, right? And be happy with it. I
Right.
think people are afraid that they can't do anything. I think we should be with, but in the discipleship thing, we could pull people under our wings and help them along the way. My media leader is 22.
Hmm.
And so if, you know, you guide them, show them what leadership is about, you truly have to show them how to have that relationship with God and to understand that that
Mm.
people
Mm-hmm.
I
will
heard you.
sometimes drive them crazy, right? And they have to learn how to, stand and know that their ministry is for Christ, because people will run them away, right?
Mm-hmm. No, yeah.
And so it's so much to, have them just to be under your wing and to walk by your side, and I protect my people and I tell don't bother my young adults, and that's I think that's what they need, and then when they're good and they're able to fly, they're feeling fully independent. You don't have to, you just be a source of advisement, when they need you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I definitely want to make sure we're not saying like once you get to a certain age, move, just get out of the way, please. Like I don't want us to have that sentiment. I'm sorry, I was chuckling a little bit when you were talking, Marlena, but it was because I was reading this comment.
About me? Was that
Um,
was that the one?
but you would assume that their
Yeah.
years of experience would
Did this
count for
sister just call me
something.
old? Did she just call me old?
Yes, he
How
is
old are
our
you, sister?
statesman. He comes only because of his age and
Who
experience.
is this? I must know the person, but I mean, who are you, Esther Smith? Do I know you?
But no, did I
Well,
hurt
see,
you?
he says you're woke. She says you've gone woke, sir.
And,
But
and,
I
and,
You
and
know
yes,
what's
yes,
happening.
yes, Esther, we have gone woke. The Bible says there's high time that we awaken from our sleep.
all right
It
now.
continually calls us to
Who's
wokeness.
preaching?
But
Yeah.
I done lost my train of thought.
Sorry.
It's that age. It's that age,
But
buddy.
there's wisdom. And wisdom, that's not to say that you don't have it as you get older, you don't have wisdom to share it's just it means that you don't necessarily need to hold a role, if that makes sense.
Right.
It's not to discount you being a consultant or an advisor or someone that they can turn to, but how are they supposed to learn how to take the reins if they're never given the opportunity to develop, to make those mistakes as we talked about earlier?
I want to confess something, and
Please.
that is, I never thought I would feel it, and that is
Mm.
the feeling of the fear of irrelevance.
Mhm.
When you get a certain age, people don't call you and all that. Now, frankly, I get called a lot. There was a group that had a breakfast Sabbath morning, and these people are trying to help prisoners. I mean, ex-prisoners, and they're patrolling the streets, trying to bring peace to the streets. And one of them called me Sabbath morning and said, "Man, we're having a breakfast. Can you come and speak with our people?" And nowadays, I'm discovering I am the oldest guy in the room most times.
Mm.
I am so accustomed. When I came into ministry, I was the youngest ordained minister in Allegheny East Conference for several years.
Wow.
So I'm so used to being the youngest, and now all of a sudden, I'm the
All of a
old guy.
sudden.
You are the OG,
And
Tally.
I'm,
Because
I'm, a,
you're
yeah,
still living,
I'm an
Tally. You're
OG. I
still living.
remember I went back to my old neighborhood. And one of the young people said, "What's up, OG?" And I'm like, "Dude, I'm,
And you're like, wait, I really
I
am
remember
OG.
when I was pastoring in Allegheny, I took some of the guys. We were all out to lunch, and I thought we were out as colleagues. And at the end of lunch, they said, "That's why we appreciate you. As a mentor, you don't look down on us. You treat us like you're equal." And I said, "Well, I'm a mentor. I thought I was your friend." But I
Wow.
realized I'm an elder now. I am an elder, and that's my role. And there's this creeping fear that as you get older, you become irrelevant.
Hmm.
And I
Mm.
realize now why some guys hold on too long.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know.
And Avery Anderson, our associate youth
Shout
director,
out.
made the comment: transformative change will happen when our leaders lead with humility, where they can move when the Spirit calls them to move out of the way. So,
Mhm.
so I put that up because, as you were saying, Tally, about feeling relevant.
Oh yeah, it's frightening when you get older.
Yeah. I can
Yeah,
imagine that, Tally.
yeah.
Yeah.
So being okay
Mm.
with being.
I'll give you an example. Corey Johnson is my guy. I just left him. Corey is my guy. Corey went to Germantown Church just like I did. We were both from North Philly Church. We were both 32 when we got there. We were both married with a daughter when we got there.
Hmm,
And and I realized, I mean, folks at Germantown. Now, Germantown is a church I'm responsible for the building project and the whole bit.
yeah.
I went there the other day and they said, "Oh, it's better than it's ever been." Said, you hear what they said, man?
That's
They said
because they
you ain't,
forgot, Tally. They
you
forgot.
ain't nobody. You just and I realized that this is what older guys go through.
Yeah.
This is what they go through.
But we also, Tally, have short-term memories. This is really important. We have short-term memories because they will talk about you and say
Oh,
you are the
yeah.
best,
Yep.
They
right?
do. And,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. You want to know that is, because you're part of that legacy, right? To get it to that point. So it's like if the mentality can shift from, wow, man, I guess I was chopped liver, to, wow, look what I was a part of.
The reason why Viagra, Cialis, and all those pills are so successful is that the greatest fear a man has is impotence.
Mm.
Mm,
Like they said, if you take this pill, it could give you a heart attack. They said, give me 2 of them pills. 'Cause I'd rather have my heart explode than
wow.
to feel impotent. And when guys get older, and I remember when I wasn't being called to the youth congress, I remember somebody called and said, we're having a youth conference, and I was trying to figure out how to work it into my schedule. And as I'm talking, they said, we were thinking you might be able to recommend somebody.
One of your mentees, huh?
I said, what do you mean recommend somebody? I'm still young. I can do it. But so guys do hold on too long. I mean, and I think Carrie asked about a succession plan. The
Yeah.
Adventist Church has no succession plan, nowhere for nothing, because Jesus is coming next week. What we need to succeed for, and
Right.
and so we need to have a succession plan. We need to talk about passing the baton, as someone said. I think Sister Brissette said it. We
Yeah.
need to talk about it,
I
and
think
and
she
make plans
screamed it.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it comes from a shift of, are we trying to preserve our careers, our ministerial careers, or are we trying to preserve our church and the future of our church? Because if you're trying to just preserve, or slot out your path to whatever it is, you're going to hang on as long as you can in these different spaces. But if you're like, I need to move aside so this church can grow, like, if that's your mindset, like, I'm the type of person, I don't want to be anywhere where I'm ineffective. Like, I get uncomfortable. Like, I don't like just taking up space for the sake of taking up space. And I'm not saying that that's what some people, I do think that's what some people may be doing, but I don't know that they see it that way. One of the
And
things,
Tosh, I just want to add, because this is something what Esther just said: youth and the seniors working together. Remember how Elijah and Elisha worked together?
Mhm.
Because Elijah was very skillful. I mean, prophet with great power. And so you have some seniors that are very Holy Ghost filled men and women that we still need around. So
yeah.
just
Oh,
because they're older, doesn't mean they just, all stop. We don't say, okay,
yeah,
you
we
stop
need
now.
older.
We still need a blend. We just don't need to push away those who are really ready. They're
Mhm.
speaking, and you see the Holy Spirit in them. They got gifts and skills. Get them working so that their gifts will grow. Right?
Right.
We At some point we've got to know to add them.
Yeah, because on the other side, we're like, where are all the young people? Why are they leaving? And then the question is, well, have you made space for them? Have you encouraged this? Have you, asked them to be a part? Have you incorporated them into the makeup? I mean, people want to, anybody wants to go somewhere where they feel valued or they feel that they can develop their gifts. If they don't feel that in the church, they're going to leave. They're, they're going to go somewhere else where they feel valued.
Hmm.
Um, All right, I'm looking at some of these comments. I'm loving all these comments.
These are great comments. I mean,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah. Marilyn says young people can come up with new creative ideas that older folks would not even think of. And honestly,
That's
I've
true.
seen some people literally resent the fact that somebody came up with something that they had not thought of and sabotage the plans
Yeah.
because it wasn't their idea. And
Yeah.
I'm
That's
just,
horrible.
and
I
I'm
mean,
like,
but you do need us. You need, look, and that goes back to Esther's point, and that is, when Rehoboam was coming after Solomon, the old people gave counsel,
Gave them good wisdom.
and Rehoboam said, y'all old man, y'all need to go somewhere and gum y'all soup and let us take over. And he screwed up the
But I
plan.
thought his friends recommended that, Tally. His
His
friends say, no, don't do none of that.
Well, that's the problem. I mean, his friends gave him information, and the older people who were trying to guide him,
Yeah, they
he
told him.
he resisted them, and so you need elders sometime.
It's true.
absolutely. You need them all the time, I feel. I feel like that's that marriage of youth and experience coming together to create something better. Because we also want to say to our young people, don't disparage older adults trying to guide you,
Yeah.
seeing that giftedness and don't see it as, because sometimes young people will hear someone give them some advice and they see it as, oh, they're trying to, and they're really trying to help you develop that gift as well, or curve it in the right direction or adjust. So don't, as young people, oh, I can't say we, but young people, don't look at always what older people say to you as them trying to discourage you. Look at what they may be trying to show you and be willing to hear it as well. There is great value in it. But yeah, we can definitely do better with working together for sure. Okay, so yeah. All right, I think okay, I think I've gotten to the end of the comments. But yeah, so what does this look like, guys? We've kind of stated the ideal in terms of, okay, older individuals being willing to say, well, Lord, if you're telling me this is my time to transition out, help me to be able to do it. But in doing so, help me mentor someone else. Or even before you get to that point of being ready to go, being in a space where you're taking young people under your wing, showing them what you do, how you do it, mistakes you've made. That was one of the things that was shared this Sabbath, like being vulnerable enough with young people to say, I've made some mistakes.
Yeah, I blew it. I messed up.
I've messed up. So that way they can hear what you have. But when we always present that we've always been and what's wrong with you mentality, they don't want to listen to you. You're creating a standard that's not realistic for them. So being
and that sin is only in you only when you're young and not when you're older.
Mercy.
You know what I'm saying? I tell my church, I said, old people sleep around too. Y'all, they do.
If they got enough energy to get out, I mean,
they do. They sleep around too.
they tell the truth and shame the devil.
You're young, you're practicing sin. I said, when you get old, you're a professional.
I'm a professional sinner. Yeah.
Okay, so this is a good question. Carrie asks, isn't there enough church work for everyone, or do we need a waiting list? Meaning, why can't we all just be at work?
That's what churches are supposed to be.
Right.
Like,
everybody is, that's the idea of spiritual gifts, that you work within the realm of your gifting. I mean, and the problem we have is that in institutionalizing church and professionalizing clergy, we have created a situation, and it's getting worse. I mean, you remember we used to have song service because we sang, and we sang songs like "We're Marching to Zion," but now what we have is a group of people who practice, and they're well honed and well trained, and they sing for us. We call them the praise team. They sing for us, and we sit back and we think, I say that I love what I hear, and it's getting
Praise team is for everybody to sing, Tally. That's why the
well,
words are there.
They invite us to join in on the chorus.
yeah, but I mean,
That's
let's
why
be
the
honest,
words are there. It's for everybody.
right? Let's be honest though. When you have a praise team that's doing 5-6 part harmony, and they got that thing structured in a certain way, you're listening more than you are joining in with them.
Yeah. A
You
little
want
bit
I,
of mini
I
concert.
heard somebody trying to join in with the praise team, and the praise team director was looking at it like, "Hey, we got this." I mean, but
Like, just
what I'm
wave your
just
hand.
saying
Don't
is-
say anything. Just
yeah,
wave.
I'm just saying that church has become more spectator oriented
Mm.
and more
True.
performative oriented, and so people are getting used to just kind of watching and instead of pitching in. I know. Look, West Church has an extraordinary music program. A lot of people are afraid to sing because they don't want anybody to talk about them.
Mm.
Mhm.
People are afraid to make mistakes, and the Adventist Church is perfectionistic, and so
Wow.
people become very afraid to make mistakes, and so they just sit back and
And
watch.
then they sit back. And I think post COVID, you always have 20% of the people do 80% of the work, right? And then post COVID, you have even less. So
Yeah,
there's
that's true.
always church work that needs to be done, but there's not a lot of people who are willing. So even when we say get the young people working, I'm telling you, many young people are not interested now. You may have a few, and many of them would be willing to work behind the scenes, but they don't want to take up
But even that,
where they are.
yeah, even that, Marlena, is a opportunity for a question like, what has made them, why don't they want to be a part? Because even talking to the young people, and asking those questions like, well, why don't you want to participate? And you'd be surprised at some things they'll say. They'll say things like, because I don't want anyone judging how I do it,
Yeah,
when I do it. So I'd rather not put myself in a situation where I have to be under someone's judgment or someone's eagle eye, or there are a lot of things. There are a lot of cultures we've created that we don't realize that are unappealing to our young people. And it's important to have those conversations with them and work on repairing those things that are a deterrent, or like you were saying, Marlene, maybe start smaller until they feel that their gifts are appreciated and valued, and then maybe they'll elevate. But I would have those conversations with our young people. Say, why? So just share with me. Not why don't you want to participate, but share with me what will make you feel more comfortable with
But
participating.
for me, a lot of just say, I don't like to be up front. I just kind of, well, I mean, and they'll do, but I'm saying when you want them to be in that leadership role, many of them don't want, they don't have to come to the meetings and things. They just rather, work and,
Yeah,
on the side
yeah.
behind the scenes.
And that's true. It's not just the young people that don't want to participate. You're right.
oh, yeah. Look, it's hard. When we have the investigative judgment, it's every 2 years now. We call it the nominating committee. We have the investigative judgment. It's
Oh,
hard to get people to
Yeah.
accept stuff these days
yeah,
because
yeah.
I even do a tally in a way that's called ministry fair, right? So that people will sign up for what they want to do. They still don't do that. They do it for a couple of months, then they're MIA. You can't get them back. It's very challenging. Very.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I see a comment in the chat from Esther Smith. Am I just an observer? Yes, observing all of your comments. That's why I'm here. For
He's
no other
trying to
reason.
learn from, they're
Yeah.
trying to learn from the.
Esther Smith, who are you?
No wonder.
Who are you?
Y'all don't need to know who I am.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
He's a child of God, Tally. What do you mean?
I'm here.
come from beneath the
The
shadow of
veil.
anonymity and speaketh thou and tell us who you are and where you are.
I'll meet you at the next camp meeting.
Wait a minute, Esther said I was wrong about something. What am I wrong about, Esther? I mean, correct me. I stand to be corrected.
Oh, I see another comment, and we are going to be wrapping up. But Stephanie made a point. Is why she said, I'm wondering if the streaming is an issue, especially amongst peers with social media. Meaning, your church's streaming service. Somebody may see it. You don't want maybe your peers to know that you sing or you can speak, and does that have an impact? Um, I don't know, but that is a theory, that might be.
Oh no, no, I'm shaking my head
I
at
know you and Esther are having a little party over
you
here.
know what I said was she said that it was older people who led into the prom. I said no, with the exception of Moses, Joshua, and Caleb. They were led into the promised land by younger people because all the older people died. Moses did lead them to the promised land. He didn't go in, but he led them there. Who are you, Esther?
Okay, older people. See, when the older people fight, this is what the kids don't want to see. I'm just playing. But no, yeah,
But did
I don't
you
even know if
call me and Esther older?
I'm just going with
You don't know how old she is. She might be a 20-year-old.
but no, great. But yeah, so as we wrap up our discussion on our youth ready to lead, I believe we've summarized to say yes, and we can do better with creating more spaces. So as we leave this conversation, as we go back to our churches, I think the question we should ask ourselves: how can we incorporate our youth more in our church overall? Not just Youth Day, not just Youth Week of Prayer, but just overall, how can we utilize our youth? And how can I, as an adult, take other young people under my wing and mentor them in certain areas or create spaces? And it doesn't always have to be for church.
Right.
Because some of us have skill sets that young people are interested in. We can help develop those sides of them as well. Because sometimes we focus on spiritual leadership, which is great, but we could also help them grow as leaders in their careers and other things. And so, how can we make sure our young people are prepared for the world that they are in? So, let's challenge ourselves to be a little bit more intentional about bringing our youth up. Right?
And that's really important too, Tosh, for us as African Americans, to help us to feel our own value and comfort, in ourselves when we are approaching the world and the church.
Mm-hmm.
Know that
Yeah.
we can do it, especially with God's help. We can certainly do it.
Well, I mean, the church used to be the training school for Black youth. I mean, because it was the only institution that really was functioning in our community at one point. I mean, we didn't have the Rotary Club, we didn't have Knights of Columbus. The church was it. I mean, people learned to sing in the church, and they learned how to present,
read.
and recite, and read in the church. So
Right.
let's do more of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we're like, oh, did you read your Sabbath school lesson? We don't even know if the child can read. You know what I mean? Like,
that is true.
So
that is so true, Tosh.
Let's make sure we're building our young people up in all aspects of life.
True enough.
Yeah. So yeah. All right. Well, thank you all for a great discussion. Thank you to our viewers, our live viewers, and on YouTube and Facebook, because your commentary has definitely kept this conversation going. And we appreciate it.
Yeah. Well.
Oh, there was a time when that happened. Churches paid for music lessons. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well,
there's a lot we need to get back to, guys.
West was still doing that when I left. We were still paying music lessons.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, there's more we can do to be intentional. So I think it's like October when pastors start planning for the next year, planning their calendar.
Yeah.
So as we're doing that, those who are on the board, ask the question: how are we being more intentional about our youth in 2026? Let's put that before.
And I will make myself available for youth days throughout the conference. I just require a little bit of wheat germ and a shot of Geritol right before, and I'm ready to roll.
Yes. All right, guys. Well, of course, thank you for joining us on the Upset Podcast. As
Yep.
always, we appreciate you being here, appreciate you watching, and we hope you have a wonderful, awesome, fantabulous week. And we'll see you back here.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Nicole.
Take care.
Yes, thank you, Nicole, and everyone else who appreciated this dialogue. Have a great week.
Take
All
care,
right.
everybody.
Blessed weekend.